going, fire against fire here. They're playing against Aqualix, one of the best attacking teams in this stage for this group at least.
Well, we can find out. Certainly one strategy late registration doesn't want to go is trying to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Ladder and Kento. Trying to take gunfights with those men, and that being your pathway to success, it's certainly a risky one. But for the ban phase starting things out, banning an op, that, as I was about to say, might fuel that aggression or be a comfort pick for either of those players. It's going to be Zofia, one of the most common operators. Sure, she might have had a recent change, but she's still comfortability for any fragger.
Nomad makes sense too, though. Those air jabs are huge for aggression, so really for stopping aggression more than anything. So getting rid of Nomad will allow both defenses, Aqualix and light registration, to play a bit more aggressive. And then Womai getting rid of some of those discs, allowing those grenades to come through, and the only really thing is Jaeger, which Jaeger is not great these days for stopping grenades.
Yeah, certainly he's still good, but Womai does have a little bit more of a lean. For the final ban, I'd expect another ban from late registration. Yup, to try and halt some of that aggression, being the Valkyrie. The ban from Aqualix also makes sense. In late registration's previous game against Livid, one of the big standout performers on attack was that Nomad, that flank watch, who I believe it was Arrow that game, very highly rated by the end. On the defense as well, Giddy was playing very aggressive on that Womai, often getting in the face of the attacking team when they would start trying to push him out of positions behind Library Stairs. So taking those two off the board, not only are they just good bans in general, they're both ops that late registration relied on heavily in their previous Chalet game. So good bans from Aqualix overall. Makes me excited that we're not just going to see, it appears, at least on face value, that some thought has gone into these. But of course, Aqualix are still
some homework has been done.
They're still running their Finka strat, so.
Of course, they're going to stick with that. They love it. It's worked out. You can't tell them not to stop.
I can't blame them.
Can't blame them.
It's mostly like, they're not changing things up too much.
Nah.
I'm not going to get too
sticking
crazy
with what works.
It.
They know what works, they might as well keep with it.
I like that I'm describing running a Finka as not getting crazy with it. That's the world Aqualix have put it.
This team only, this team. Because if you talk about any other team and they brought a Finka, you would not be like, what, huh, what?
It's like DZ earlier in the season. It's like they're bringing Finka on Villa. What? And now Aqualix bringing Finka. It's like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's normal. But either way, here we started out, and on the side of late reg, though, we have the Clash. Though Clash isn't brought too often, isn't a crazy pick, but it's definitely somewhat unusual to see here and there.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, she's an op that when you bring her, I wouldn't say you have to base your entire defense around her, but she certainly does soak up a significant amount of the attention. You're relying on her to stall a lot of that time and be the main player at the front of the attacking team. And if you are trying to stall out Aqualix and you want to get in the face of Aqualix, putting someone close to Kento or Vladder on that entry when they both have great aim, but you can't really kill Arrow unless you, alongside your team, take away that shield. Very smart strategy. Also, makes a lot more sense with that Zofia. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What
I was about to say.
Zofia for that reason, probably. The Capital win, I guess substitute, but no one really thinks they bring Capital on Chalet, really, or for this purpose. But either way, the first start of the round is going to be, late registration trying to slow down Aqualix, because their intent right now is to open up this top floor. And whether or not, how many members are upstairs for late registration? This will be 3. This will be a good amount of them upstairs for the moment. And let us see if they're going to go through with this whole entire roam clear that usually teams would do.
Oh, Gasher will finally come face to face with Era on that Clash, send an 8 on him, but it's not meant to deal with the Clash just yet. It's meant to allow Discover to open up this wall. It is not an upstairs defense, as you might be wondering, considering the significant presence by the defense upstairs. It's actually a bar, or not kitchen. Kitchen dining. There is a bar in kitchen, but different site. It's a kitchen dining defense coming out from late registration. They're just, again, placing a very clear emphasis on this top floor. And so far, Aqualix are facing a little bit of trouble. Not stalling out by any means, but without that Zofia, they have yet to come up with a clear solution for taking down Arrow. They pushed him back, but they've not pushed him out just yet. But now that they found Giddy getting a bit aggressive, even though with a refrag onto Kento, part of that presence upstairs is now gone.
Who needs to deal with the Clash? We just kill the teammates around the Clash. They've got rid of one. A second one, though, it's the castle of Fish getting one down, but can't finish off Discover. They're pushing in to try and get that, make sure they can't finish off Discover. Fish gets another kill, though. He'll kill Gasher. So he's got 1 kill and 1 down. Can he take out 2 players in front of him? He can. He takes out 2. Can he get a third, though? 1 person in the bathroom, 1 person in front of him. Arrow's giving all the info he can, but he'll go down, finds a Vladder. But either way, the time has been wasted here, and with all this aggression, all this fights, if Arrow can stay alive and just keep wasting time as he's trying just to stay alive here and back off.
That is the issue. Arrow is by himself, but he is also Clash, as you can see, rethinking trying his best to deal with it. punched her shield away, did 50 HP's worth of damage, but Arrow still remains and continues kiting the attackers back and back and back, this time away from the site. Bladder trying his best to move forward will continue to be slowed by Arrow. This is just a humorous position at this point. Still trying his best. This, in effect, leaves Rethinking by himself to push the site. They also don't have diffuser control. So the attack, not only are they pushing separately, they don't have enough intel, and Bladder is so infatuated with Arrow, he's left the rest of the attack by themselves. He might finally land a kill. No! He doesn't even finish him off! The round ends, diffuser left upstairs. At least Bladder doesn't die, but a humorous first round, to say the least, coming out from late registration.
Bro, Arrow was playing a different game. He wasn't even playing CG, but he's just playing like an RPG.
Dude, I guarantee Arrow had to have been laughing in the comms of that situation. There's no way that man was straight.
That was funny. But either way, that was a decent start. Like they finally get one pick for Aqualix to try and deal one of those players by Arrow playing this Clash. But the Clash is still a big thing. And Fish playing back in Solarium, using those holes made by the shotgun or the holes made by Rooney on Vivid, went perfectly well. The Arrow was garnering attention of certain players from Aqualix, allowing for Fish to strike at certain time, downing one, killing two. I think they finally were able to finish off that player, and it made it a 2v3 because there were some good picks from the side of Aqualix, but still, the time had wasted. The goal of late registration's defense was obtained. They wasted so much time, and Arrow, who was the perfect play, perfect person, stayed alive the entire round.
Now they'll move away from that Clash strategy, as you don't want to give too much time to it. Could give Aqualix much more time to find it out. So if you base your entire play on Chalet around it, Gasher, who's come a long way since his T3 days, he's a very well, I don't know if I'd say well respected. It's still some haters, but at least to me, very fond of him as an IGL so far with what he's done with Aqualix. You should have time to be able to figure it out. They'll move back to a bit more of a standard setup for Chalet overall, and bar gaming specifically. Without that Wamai, of course, Giddy will move to the smoke with the FMG9, so we might still see him get aggressive upstairs like we did see him in their Livid game against Wamai. In fact, he's playing the exact same position. So late registration, this is a bit more, not only of an echo and a harkening back to their previous defenses against Livid, but also just Chalet in general. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, same defense as previously, like you see on this kind of site. So seeing Aqualix push this library side would be a good start, because this is kind of a way to bypass that defense. If you can take control of library, it makes it difficult for those players playing pillar upstairs by top of fireplace, or playing that library stairs to stay up there and force them downstairs, and it would make that that roam a lot easier. And there's the first clear, taking an Arrow. The Clash from last round, who's now playing Jaeger, was so deadly. Now I say deadly, but just wasting time. And so can the second kill come through? Kento with another of his own. They're already inside. They take control of library. Kento gets 2. Wow. 3 kills early in the round for Aqualix.
Well, and this is why I think CJ started to rethink his late registration pick. They had a solid first round, and I'm not saying it's done by any means, but this is where Aqualix excels. If you're not putting problems in front of them, or the only problems you're putting are defenders playing off a site or alone in positions, or in Vivid's case, alone on the site, they have the players and the skill necessary to deal with it. They've cleared out the site, cleared out everyone around it. Fish is now all alone. Sure, he has a hard ping on a player playing inside an elbow, but he's already backing off. He's able to land the pre-fire, but it's still a 1v3 post plant. And Aqualix, they're moving back off the site. They're not pushing the issue. Fish will send a C4 up, but this only indicates the lack of intel at his disposal. Nobody's even up inside a pillar. He'll try, spray every single angle possible and imaginable. He knows the general position of a couple players based on the tracers coming through. But again, another solemn reminder to the odds he's facing. He still manages to find Kento, but the time is running low. Only about 9 seconds left for him to find 2 kills or get a miracle ninja defuse, and I don't think the probability of either is particularly high. Discover will manage to land the pre-fire thanks to Fish's vault out. Aqualix, they even it up 1-1.
So as you said before, though, that entry into library, they walked in. Kento jumping through the books window. You had kills from Rethinking. I think it was either Rethinking or another player inside the library windows getting those picks, and really the entry from those players allowed for Aqualix to take control of top floor, take control of the library side, push right into site, deal with one player at that point who was, he had the first 3 entries, and there's 2 players, one player's off site, one player's on site, and you just deal with that last player on site, and you take control of site, leaving Fish in a 1v4. You put it into 1v2, but it's still very difficult to do when you have limited time in that post plan. So great job from Aqualix and great entry from those players. And what you expect from Aqualix is all season they've been crazy when it comes to those entry plays.
Well, and on Chalet as well, they were dismantling these exact same kinds of setups. Sure, it was against Wave Runners, and they have had a large share of issues with their roster, especially losing their IGL, but they still were able to take down a lot of these same strategies and a lot of these same setups. So does the late registration. They are in the top 3 in the group for a reason. They're very good. They know their positions, and all these players are very skilled in what they do. But I would say they're playing directly into the hands of Aqualix, but they're certainly not making it more difficult when playing in that same way as they were previously. They're not giving bodies up, but putting Arrow in a position across the map when Rethinking can either spot him from across the way or putting players outside a library where Kento has time and time again just hopped in windows and dismantled your entire setup. You need something a little bit different. You need some twist, some flair. It's going to make it more difficult for Aqualix. In round 1, it was the Clash. In round 2 and round 3, you haven't seen what it is yet.
Well, round 3, we're upstairs in bedroom and office for our next defense, and Aqualix, let's see how they can disable this and dismantle this roam, because there's people downstairs. And as you said before, what is the flair this round when it comes to late regis defense? Because so far it looks to be pretty normal. Have people downstairs. Oh, interestingly, it's Arrow downstairs, not someone with the C4, so probably he's just roaming below, making it difficult, or at least trying to waste time for these attackers. If the attack can take control like Trophy, Dining, but we'll see. He's all by himself. Aqualix, if their aggression goes well, they could easily just solely isolate and get rid of him. But he has some back upstairs though. You see some vertical pressure from above to help him out. Though Kento's on this window trying to dismantle that and stop that from happening.
Yeah, Kento does have a strong position to deny upstairs, but because of that window and the presence of a player on top of library stairs, it makes it a lot harder for Kento to make this work. And on the vault in, on the entry into the building, where 3 kills went the way of Aqualix last time, now 3 kills all in a row, or technically 2 if we're being accurate, go the way of late registration. They're able to win those gunfights. The 3rd finally confirmed. One continues to contest that bathroom window. It's Vivid or Giddy. I'm not quite sure, but either, no matter what, it still leaves 5 bodies on the board. Now we know it's Giddy, who sent out a C4. It's unfortunately shot, but all it served was a distraction. Fish to jump out. Kento's able to dismantle both. This is a 3v2, but be cautious, late reg. You're in a winning position, but don't throw it away.
Oh, that was scary. Yeah, Kento, both Giddy and Fish and Giddy try to push Kento on that balcony. Not, it looks like it was kind of a coordinated play, but you know, one player on the far side of the map trying to spawn peek, or not really spawn peek, but go for a run out. Kind of aggressive there, though. They need to get aggressive with Aqualix because, you know, these players like Kento and Vlad have shown their potential and how well they can play at times, and you don't want to leave them to really execute if they can. So trying to stop them later, at least put some tracks and make it difficult for them, is not really a bad play, but don't be too aggressive here. Don't give them too many kills. Vivid still has some smoke canisters left. I think he has, well, actually no, he's 1-0 left. That was the last one to deny Flatter from pushing in, but there's intel here, so they know Vladder's here. They just know where Kento is.
They're still on top of that. They now know where Kento is based on the shots. We're just outside of Piano, and Vivid's able to swing out, take him down. Vladder, the only one left. 35 seconds left, and he does have diffuser control, so there are worse positions to be in, and he's able to find one. Bear through the wall. Had some intel in the Frost position, and as she backed off, he's able to hit some shots through that wall, and that could be the kill necessary. We've seen more incredible clutches start with much less. 18 seconds left. He'll consider the Yana clone, but he'll back off. All it does is give away his position, man. As he moves into the site, Arrow has his eyes right on him, takes his head off. Late registration. Aqualix got one, but now they've answered back and taken the lead right back in turn.
Honestly, that was all Vivid, though. Vivid, I think, had a 4K that round?
3K.
3K or 4K, because he stopped that entire entry into, I believe, Slayer and Trophy in the beginning. Oh, yeah, Arrow got one of those kills in the beginning. So, yeah, it was Vivid and Arrow just stopped that entire entry from Aqualix. It's like there were 2 or 3 players trying to make that, you know, that Slayer entry we've seen a lot of teams do. We've seen Honor do it. We've seen Late Registration do it when it comes to that top floor defense. So it looks like that was what Aqualix were winning for, but those 3 players all go up pretty early, leaving Kento and Vladder in a 2v4, 2v5, which became a 2v3 because that, you know, that double take trying to take out Kento on that bathroom balcony. But still, great job from Late Registration. Now we go back to Kitchen and Dining, which, again, that room upstairs was huge for Late Registration with that clash.
And again, with that Zofia, it's going to be a lot harder. The tools Aqualix have at their disposal, they do have 2 sets of nades, 4 in total, 1 in the hands of Gasher, 1 in the hands of Vladder. But beyond that, not too much. E1D, yeah, it'll tell you where the clash is, because I guarantee she's not going to stop moving, but doesn't do much to directly counter her. Hibana, Thatcher, not that much either. You're not going to EMP and suddenly the bulletproof glass becomes not bulletproof anymore. So again, it's that Zofia ban coming into play from late registration. Excellent foresight to go for that. And I'm sure there are other reasons as well, but it's making this strategy work. And in that round prior, we saw what can happen if late registration are able to put problems in front of Aqualix. They try to clear from Solarium, as you said, but because they had some players over, opening windows over on top of library stairs, it made the clear that much harder and made the comfort of late registration that much better. So if they're able to find strats like that, small ways to make Aqualix uncomfortable in turn, that's their pathway to success.
I'll see what happens here, because yeah, the clash is huge here, but having, if you can deal with the players around clash, you could make it happen for Aqualix. If they're able to find some good peaks, because Fish last time was the mainstay.
That's true.
To help
It did
out.
start to happen last time.
Yeah, Fish was the mainstay. If you think about Fish or whoever's playing by Arrow, this could happen. But Giddy's playing the Legion this time too, which wasn't playing last time, and that could make it even more difficult for Aqualix to push their way in, try and find Fish or Giddy playing upstairs. Hard to say. We'll see how they push it up, but it seems to be the expected push coming from library. Maybe Aqualix is going to try for its Slayer and push it. Maybe have players go elsewhere and try and deal with this, because last time going for that, that one side push from that south to north side kind of just ran into what light registration were expecting.
Well, late registration, once they hear the sounds of the Vector outside a bathroom, they know Kento's in that position, so they can expect him to watch that window and hope to catch somebody on a rotation with EE1D in. They'll likely expect an entry as well. Gasher might have spotted one, and Vladder will certainly spot Giddy inside of a hole directly in front of him, and the crossfires, just 3 people all looking that direction. Yeah, it was going to be difficult for Giddy to get out of closet, but it's still 4 members of late registration, and 2 members on the roam still alive. They've been pushed back a little bit, and, well, now they're starting to fall. Arrow's able to find one on the rotate out, but he falls as well. The strategy that worked so well for late registration in round number 1, it's been completely dismantled just by a couple key players able to actually make their way inside of the building this time. Vivid does still have control of the site down below, but that could quickly collapse at any moment. Aqualix, not only do they have time to flood the site, they have plenty of time to not do that, to continue setting up, opening up these holes, getting soft destruction. They don't have too much time, but enough to slowly squeeze the life out of Vivid.
Oh, there we got Vivid with the alibi and the new 1.5. It ain't gonna matter though. Gash is ready and waiting. Intel in their hands, waiting for that play. Expects him to peek the door and takes them out immediately. Aqualix with another on the board, taking the lead once more.
That was really good overall. I mean, you don't need me to tell you this, but still. But Benny, anyone with a brain could see that was a very good clear by Aqualix of that realm up top. Whereas before, because late registration had some pressure over by library, able to open up that window, Kento doesn't find nearly as much success on that bathroom window. Allows the players to play a lot more comfortable in the site. That go around, late registration, they didn't have that same pressure. They just had the same clash inside a piano, Giddy inside a master bedroom, Fish inside a solarium. So because they don't have that same pressure on the other side, Aqualix have much more freedom to play, to move in, to clear out those roamers, and the gunfights go their way. The roam isn't nearly as successful, and hey, that's how you clear out a clash with no Zofia on the board, and without nades either.
Yeah, I would say that was a great amount of angles set up by Aqualix, so that those players playing around the clash were just getting crossfire left and right. That's how you do it, really. So I would say whoever just instructed, I suppose Basher probably instructed that play, but still great play from the team of Aqualix. They really, without a Sophia, without the grenades, without a Capital to figure out and just deal with that roam. And really, now we go on to a tying game so far. Late registration going back to bar and gaming, which last time they were able to take control of library and books hallway with just Kento and rethinking with the entry kills to give him that first minute they were able to get into the building.
But we will see an adaptation from late registration. They know that on this site, at least in this game specifically, Aqualix like to go for this library push, as opposed to that Solarium push. So now Bear has flexed to the mirror, and he's got a black mirror looking directly inside of library. Now, this position isn't the easiest to hold. Aqualix could send someone over to that double window, maybe send a nade on in, and destroy it potentially, or even if they could potentially find an angle. I actually don't know. You might not be able to see that mirror window because of the pillar blocking it. But either way, for now, until it's destroyed, late registration have a perfect avenue to counter that push, and Aqualix will already start rotating. They'll send Vladder downstairs. He's making his way on in, but even despite Bear having that angle, he's the first pick. Rethink is able to find him on that pillar.
Oh, yeah, it's a great angle on top of this little canopy, and Arrow's trying to challenge it for the moment. Vladder's got a position inside Kochek. I'm not sure if Fish knows this or not. He looks like he tries to peek it. He quick peeks it, gets the angles, and is able to try and bait out some shots. But people, all his teammates are dying around him. Kento gets killed. Vivid is now getting shot at him. They're in sight. It's Fish all alone. He gets 1 kill, but now he's on low HP. In a 1v3 as the plant is going down. Does he have the angle to stop the plant even? No, he does not, because Gash is ready away with the SMG-11.
Wow.
And Aqualix will take the lead. We'll take the lead finally. Yeah, like I said before.
I was so excited for late registration. I saw them in round 1. I was like, okay, I like this clash strat. I like them. They're being aggressive, but not in a way that Aqualix can counter. Okay, I like where this is going. In the rounds since then, it hasn't been the same. Now, of course, they don't want to bring the clash every round. That much is obvious. So if you're not bringing the clash, it's a little bit harder to get that same aggression, to be up in front of the attack, in their face, without taking gunfights. But their solution is just to play bog standard Chalet. They're making adaptations, so it's still better than a lot of teams so far against Aqualix. They're actually trying to counter their pushes, counter where they're coming from. But as you said, Benny, in round number 1, they had a solid hold and pillar, but Kento just jumped in and killed 2 people. That time, they had a player playing behind a mirror window, but Rethinking is just able to move over to library window and kill him, because he moved a bit off the mirror window in the line of sight from that window. So for late registration, the setups aren't bad, but for Aqualix, they're very easy to counter because they've seen this a million times before already. They can counter it before, they can counter it now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It seems like Aqualix in every single one of these rounds, except for that round with the clash, that very first round, which they did figure out what to do, that, you know, that third round, they were figure out what to do, how to deal with the clash, or fourth round, I mean. This is the big thing, is that they've been able to adapt, well, maybe adapt, but they know what to do each round. Like last round, the mirror was a big thing, but they had some, yeah, like you said before, Rethinking was just waiting on like canopy, waiting to get that angle into the hallway of pillar. So it just, you know, Aqualix are waiting. They understand how to deal with these plays because they really aren't that crazy. The clash was the only crazy thing we've seen so far. So I would say, like, unless late registration has something crazy going on this round, not sure how it's gonna go. We're back to Master and Office for our next defense, and they had last time the big thing was Vivid and Arrow stopping that Solarium push. As they got the first 3 entry picks. Will it happen again?
Well, actually, one thing I will say, in all fairness, this is also Chalet defense we're talking about. The fact that late registration have 2 rounds is still solid. So we're being a little bit harsh, but do keep that in mind. Late registration are still doing fine by all metrics of Chalet, especially a map where Aqualix have steamrolled previous opponents, gotten 5 1/2s on their attack. So all things considered, while we are being a bit harsh, it's not too terrible. In this round specifically, though, late registration, they're going for that same setup. This caused Aqualix a lot of trouble. They have that player on library, but Aqualix, once they're able to get their angles, they seem to excel. But there's an aggressive play they need. Fish lands a hit and run onto Vladder. That was the player playing outside master bedroom double. That was an angle that got them a fair bit of control and allowed them to flood the site last time. Now it's gone.
Yeah, that was a big one because it cuts off rotates back into bedroom, which would allow their players to push in. But Vladder with a great push take it out. Vivid goes down though. He was a big player last time. Goes down. The Gasher was playing that bedroom door. Fish comes back to site, and so far it seems to be that same Solarium push, but it's going a lot better this time. They're getting this wall open. They're making way in the site. Those grenades are able to destroy them. Gasher still getting a grenade off, and right as he throws the grenade, Giddy peeks it, gets the kill on the Gasher. But the wall is open. Aqualix has entry, but the members of Aqualix are going down left and right. Fish with another of his own. He's on this big window. He thinks he takes a lot of damage trying to play, and Fish is ready once more to run out, but he's going to play it safe for now.
Yeah, no need to get too aggressive. 2v4, though Discover appears to might be taking Giddy off guard. Doesn't even know the player's position. Well, he'll give his position away, and it's not even Giddy that takes him down. It's Arrow. It's actually Arrow to take down the final ones. Late registration, they've secured themselves a 3-3-1/2. So again, Benny, while we were being a little bit critical of their defenses, they still landed a 3-3-1/2 on Chalet. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, we were talking about pre-show before too, talking about, like, you know, I think we talked about pre-show as well before. These teams is, you know, attack percentage and defense percentage, and surprisingly, they have a really good attack percentage, though Aqualix have the better attack percentage. But also, I think we said Aqualix has like a 70% win percentage and like a 50% defense percentage. So it's interesting to see what happens here. I'm not gonna say, you know, that doesn't really mean much sometimes in these matches, but anything can happen. Maybe this is gonna be a even half both times. We'll go to overtime. Could be. On to Wine Cellar and Snowball. Wait, Wine Cellar.
Basement?
I haven't seen basement. I don't think I've ever seen a basement comp match in Chalet.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
I've seen a little bit in CCSW, but I haven't seen it much at CL.
No, yeah, because it's considered the worst site by most teams. They think about it because they didn't figure it out. Maybe Aqualix have figured it out.
Well, if we are talking about basement, this site is in large part based on how successful your roam is. Kento being on the vigil, Aqualix also never shying away from roaming off-site. Certainly have the players to do it. Maybe that's why they're going basement. They're confident in their roam. They have rethinking on the pulse as well, so he can give intel to anybody playing off the side, like, hey, they're pushing over here, or hey, you might maybe need to rotate down. They're right outside. They're knocking on your door, whatever, what have you. C4 as well. You also have some good intel in this side, some utility with Gasher. And gonna ignore the fact that he just impacted himself. We'll just move on beyond that.
You pressed the wrong button. He's gonna put the
Yeah, exactly.
evil eye on there.
We've all done it.
Yeah,
We've all done it.
Simple misclick. People do it all the time. Unfortunate. But he's also
Besides,
he's one of the site players. He'll be fine.
Exactly. He's sitting in the site. Doesn't matter.
He's inside. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. We'll see what happens. So yeah, Kento, you said before, the roam is the big thing here. Kento on that roam is going to be the big one. He's also by himself. Actually, no, he's not Flatter with him. So that's two-man roam here, which could be ignored by late registration. But if they ignore it, that also could allow for them to, strike back later in the round when they wouldn't expect it.
That's the difficult thing is if you do ignore this roam, they have really powerful angles from above, especially, inside a dining. Vertical angles achieved there by even, say, an impact grenade from Kento can deny a lot of the push if your attack is coming from Moto. But now, late registration, they've started to rotate up, and the moment that happens, Aqualix have rotated down. Flatter's moved down to that first floor. Rethinking is also playing inside a bar. I believe you do still have one player up top. I think it's Kento. Yeah, there is still one player on that second floor. So Aqualix have not committed to a full rotate, but they potentially lost Kitty. Down on the floor, he was going for that clear upstairs, and now they've lost Bear on the horizontal. Your Thatcher gone as well. Not many options to deal with that bandit from Discover.
That is a good start here, and this is roam clear from late registration. Seems to be a bit miscoordinated. They were trying to isolate one player of Rethinking, but so far they were too slow, allowing for Kento to get two here on the return and help out Rethinking. Rethinking himself was able to get one of his own and C4 Bear. So at this point now leaves Arrow and Vivid in a 2v5. They're gonna look around, try and find anybody they can, but so far the intel seems to be lacking. Flatter gets a kill on Arrow, is down to Vivid, now to 1v5. He's got to look for anybody around him with looks to be no intel. Yeah, they get 3 drones. They ain't got much to their name.
One thing I actually will say is about this basement side. It's 1v5, so I'm not saying it's completely out of their own possibility for Vivid to win it. After all, Rethinking is 1 HP, Gasher is 25 HP. But now Rethinking does have intel on Vivid's position. He tries to land a pre-fire. But one thing I will say about this basement pick overall is Vivid tries his best to survive. Okay, finally done. Flawless round. But Benny, one thing I will say about this basement pick, while the site isn't good, you do need to clear out that roam on the attack. Unless you're going to hit the site extremely quickly and play cutoffs, if you're just going to try to take it more slowly, you need to clear out that roam.
Yep.
Aqualix do very well on the roam. And a lot of the counters we've seen from Aqualix have been just, trying to hit the site, not playing into that roam, not trying to play into Vladder, into Kento. But you can't really do that on a site like Basement.
Nope.
So by picking that site and almost forcing late reg to play into them, it turns a site that isn't great into a really powerful tool in Aqualix's arsenal because of the players they have on that roam.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, unless you go for a garage push, but even then it becomes a much funnel push if you go for garage. So unless, and then they were bandit tricking too, so there's no Zofia to stun the bandit. You could try to grenade them, but I think they brought both Jaeger and Wamai. Or maybe they brought Jaeger. No, not Wamai. They brought Jaeger at least, though, so at least he would stop some of those grenades with those ADSs. But in the end, it's like, you really can't just rush the site. So it allows for Aqualix to just have the entire rest of the map as a playground.
And now they've won Garage, they have free site selection for any of the 3 more preferred bomb sites on this map. They will keep some semblance of the same lineup, Rethinking, sticking to that pole. So we will see some movement, Gasher to the Mozzie, Discover to the Mute. So still some changes. Kento also on the Frost, so late registration beware. We've seen many times Kento not only performing on that Vigil as we saw last round, but on the Frost, especially in their first game against Livid on Cafe. So be careful. You're playing into Kento's hands. When he has that 9mm, crazy things can happen. So you got to watch yourself going against that.
Hey, they took the 1.5 off it, though, so maybe he's been...
That's true. Never mind. He sucks now. Kento's just he's going to flounder.
Well, here we are upstairs in our bedroom and office defense. And, of course, you have players all around the map. You got Gasher by himself and Stock and Vladder playing Pillar. Kento's on site, Discover's on site, but we're thinking downstairs as the Pulse, giving info if anybody tries to push site, playing that dining room kitchens by himself for the moment. So what is Late Registration to do here? They're probably joining out and figuring what's going on, and they're probably seeing players left and right all around the map. So how do they attack this site? Do they go straight for a Slayer and push and try to deny these roamers or at least bypass them?
Well, see, the funny thing with that is Giddy himself actually got a few opening picks onto Rexavy, playing in this exact same position, isolated from the rest of his team, playing inside of stock. Giddy got, I think, a couple opening picks that way, but this time, Late Registration aren't going for the same player. They're not pushing downstairs nearly as aggressively. They'll try to contest Flatter up top, but now Vivid Falls, that's your only hard breacher. So sure, you have that Thatcher. He can disable some utility, like those ADSs and those mute jammers, but now opening up those walls, it's going to be a much trickier task, and you'll have to expend a lot more utility in the process. They'll expend one nade trying to dislodge Flatter, but it doesn't do much. In fact, they'll swing and Fish will fall. Goes for another pre-fire, but he can just sit in this position. He doesn't need to get aggressive. Of course, it's Flatter. He probably will, but he's done enough damage already in the first minute 45.
Arrow with the kill was on the Flatter Valley, finally taking out, but taking 2 members with him. A 2-for-1 sale for Aqualix. They'll gladly take those engagements. They'll probably back out the moment, though Gasher's still playing inside his stock, has no C4 in hand, but intel is being given to him. So he's playing below, looking to see if he can find somebody, but there are no guys from Late Reg are walking all around upstairs. They think they finally figured out. They seem to figure out where he is. Shots come out, but he still wins the fight. Gasher finishes off with Giddy with the pistol. And even though they have the vertical pressure with the sledge, they couldn't deal with Gasher. Now leaving it's a 2v4 for Arrow and Bear. And really, you still got people outside roaming who are still a problem. You're thinking of so much info. Bear gets a kill on a Gasher, though. Finally finish off Gasher outside of sight. With only 30 seconds left to go, intel galore. Someone below like this is pretty much a done deal, it seems like.
Yeah, that's the issue with Rethinking downstairs. They could kill the final 2 members on the site, but as long as Aqualix are able to waste some time, and even though they've fallen, Discover's the only one left. The fact that Rethinking is down below with the C4. Wait, never mind, he's rotated up. Okay, this changes things actually quite a bit. It's still 10 seconds left, but Late Registration, they have a much better opportunity to try and close this out. Rethinking will flank on in, but he downs Discover. Bear's able to get the bomb down, or just successfully. Rethinking takes down Arrow, and it's an effective 1v1. Bear, yet he has a long angle, but so does Rethinking. He's able to land it! Rethinking on the rotate up. He had such a powerful position, but they end up giving their life away. And Late Registration, they clutch a 2v4.
I'll be honest, I walked away for a second, but that was insane.
I don't know if that was the play. I'll be honest.
Yeah, because Rethinking. So the first part of the match was just dealing with the roam. Late Registration going toe for toe, trying to deal with the roam on side Aqualix. Vladder gets 2 kills. He finally gets taken out. Gasher gets a kill of his own. Gets taken out too as well. It kind of evens it up. Makes it a 2v3 though. And kind of at that point, Rethinking was the mainstay there because Rethinking with that cardiac sensor below and dining had all the intel for Aqualix in that round. But that first start, you get that first kill from Arrow. Arrow walks into Piano, gets that first kill, makes it a 2v2. Rethinking at that point, it's like, okay, I got to return to site. Return to site. And I kind of walked away at that point. But it looks like even that 2v2 though, Late Registration made it happen.
In all fairness, I understand it. Because again, he has the intel down below. I get Rethinking's logic. Like, oh, Discover's low on the site. I should probably rotate back.
Yeah.
That's just good camaraderie. I respect that. But at the same time, remember your position. Your pulse with a C4, and there's only 10 seconds left. Yeah, Discover might die, but you have time to deny the plant. And they ended up getting the bomb down inside of office. Not only is that floor soft, that's exactly where Rethinking was playing his pulse.
The entire floor is soft for this entire site.
Yeah, but Rethinking, he literally didn't have to move. And either way, that was last round. Don't wanna hammer the point too, hammer the point too far home. But either way, I understand Rethinking, but might not have been the play overall. Now moving down to Bar, going to be a similar setup as it always is. You're going to have some players up top holding inside of office, and now some players down below. Rethinking has moved off the pulse to the Aruni, so there won't be any intel down below, but Late Registration, look, they're just pushing on up. Fish and Giddy in tandem going up those west main stairs. Giddy following behind. There is some barb and a proximity alarm as well. So a sound cue to indicate that at least somebody's moving up these stairs. Aqualix do have a crossfire. Kento and somebody else able to look this way. Fish tries to get the first kill, finally able to clear it out. They've now taken the site. One spotted prone behind the counter. That kill goes Fish's way as well, despite Giddy's efforts, but now Aqualix find 3 in a row. One player left on the site. Arrow playing catch up. Flatter will start to rotate back. We think it's able to take him down. A smart rush by Late Registration, but an excellent rebuttal by Aqualix. Arrow He's a bit behind the pace. He gets flicked on by Gasher. It seemed like it was going their way, but a 2v4 clutch answered by a 3v5 stalwart defense by Aqualix.
That one was crazy. That was I guess you call it a rush from the administration, but as soon as they walked in the site, they were still stalled by these two players that were playing in perfect positions to at least give the intel to the team, knowing they're pushing West Main as quickly as possible, allowing for Aqualix to play that hatch perfectly and deal with late registration. They played trophy stairs, they played the hatch upstairs inside of bedroom perfectly. And they, even though they had control of dining, those players that were pushing into trophy or into kitchen were getting dealt with. And it left that one player by themselves inside of dining. They're in a 1v3.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Yeah,
bombs.
it didn't look like a terrible strategy. They're able to move into the site, and Fish is even able to get 2 kills. And we saw their setup. They had one player outside trophy, able to try and watch the rotate. It just appeared that all the players of late registration who were dedicated to watching that flank just didn't. And that might not be their fault. Maybe it was just bad timing. Maybe they missed their shots, what have you. But that's what ended up costing them. And now Aqualix, normally we would never say this, but they get the privilege of going back to basement. The setup that worked so well for them. After the victory last round, if they're able to take a win on this site a second time in a row, it's looking extremely good for them to close it out. But if late registration can answer back, I'm confident they still have a say in this match.
Last time they didn't have much of a say because that roam was so potent on Aqualix's side. It was a flawless win last time from Aqualix, and there's already somebody peeking out. Somebody on that library window is waiting for somebody to rappel up or wait to somebody downstairs to see if they can see them below. It's Vladder. He'll back off for the moment though, as nobody's going up there just yet. It looks like this seems to be them really focusing on that garage wall, but Discover has 2 batteries in his pocket, waiting for a chance, but no, he's not actually ban checking whatsoever, so he's gonna let the blow open. And how is Aqualix going to respond to this as that wall is open? That's still only one entry point though. That could easily be snuffed out if they rush into it. Gash gets the first kill though, pre-firing that all into the garage door. You don't want to walk into that.
No, you certainly do not want to go into that. Initially, it was a solid adaptation by late registration, trying to just take things, bypass, don't play into that roam. But it's clear that their plan was opening that wall, and there wasn't much to move in and build in beyond that. Gasher, admittedly, did land a nice shot, but now they're starting to rotate up again. Now they're starting to play it safe. They're trying to find Kento. They're trying to find Vladder on this roam. It's a solid strategy. If they manage to isolate 2 of them, even though they might be difficult kills, if they're able to land even 1, they can certainly flood into the site or start moving in after that. Again, it'll still be difficult with Gasher playing there, but it'll be a burden lifted off of their mind. But late registration, they're not stalling out just yet. They're still consolidating, still coordinating, but they're taking time. That's also giving Aqualix time to relocate their own positions.
Kento is still a menace. He looked like he went upstairs via library stairs, but again, using that disguise of his, he can be anywhere in the map and they wouldn't know. They'd always see those lines on the drone. So Fish here has no real intel, and that's it. Kento waiting and ready takes out Fish, and this is the big part of why Vigil's so strong. Arrow at least entries in the Vladder, but still looking for Kento, not sure where Kento is. Bear is still outside this, Vivid as well, waiting outside. Arrow's on his own, trying to entry and deal with these roamers. As he sees ahead, he does barely see it, but Kento is that much better. He takes out Arrow. It's now a 2v4 and looking very grim here for Grim here for side of late registration.
Again, another 2v4. I've seen late registration already clutch a 2v4, but in this setup particularly, you have Rethinking close around the corner. Kento also joining in on the action with the Pulse. Late registration, they're just rotating back to garage. Vivid will send his final smoke grenade in. It'll cover an angle, but they're not pushing in beyond that. Maybe just trying to cover a rotate or something like that. And ooh, Bear able to land a pre-fire through the smoke. That's a really solid pick to start things out, but it's still one pick amongst a litany of others that need to come out, and there's just not enough time to make this work. No intel on Rethinking or Kento playing close around the corner. Vivid will try to solo send it down blue, but he can't even land the pre-fire like Bear was able to do a few kills prior. Aqualix, they moved to match point. Now they're in a position they should be able to close this out.
I must say, even if they they can't play, they can't play that site for the rest of the round though, but they've had success on the other sites though, so
that's the issue. Is late registration, the only victory they have was after a 2v4 that Aqualix seemed in the favor in. So for late registration, what do you do in this matchup? Where do you go?
They're gonna go back
Or-
probably
well.
to that top floor, right? And the only reason they won that was because of that situation. They still had such a hard time dealing with the roam game. That's been the biggest thing so far for Late Red, is dealing with Aqualix's roam game. And no matter what, you can't really. It's Chalet. You can't deny it. Really, you can't just walk away from it.
No.
We've seen every single round that the second they try to bypass it is the second that becomes their doom.
And that was an issue the analyst desk brought up, and Connor specifically brought up, is going to a map like Chalet, even though late registration looked solid on it with a sub as well, it's a map that allows Aqualix to dictate the pace, not only on attack, but especially the defense with the way they like to play. It's a map that plays into their favor. It's also a map that late registration seemed comfortable on, but again, it's kind of like the coastline pick last week. Sure, maybe KCP, they felt comfortable on that map, but it's another map that really plays to what Aqualix like to do, and now you're in a spot where, well, you're down 6-4, to put it simply.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a map that just suits their playstyle. It's the maps you should be going to if you want to play Aqualix. You're letting them play the way they want to, because that's how the map is. Though it's hard to say. We'll see exactly if one round left, or one potentially round left. Maybe another after that, but we'll see what happens. Late Reg going back to that top floor. No, Aqualix going back to top floor, and Late Reg will be attacking it. You know, they won that barely due to some great heroics from who was the last time? Was it Giddy? Who clutched that last time?
I believe it was Bear and Arrow.
Bear
Yes, it
and
was
Arrow.
Bear
Oh
and
yeah,
Arrow.
because Arrow got that first pick, and then it was Bear in that.
And Bear got the
1v.
bomb down.
Yeah. So that was it.
The-
That's a big one. Could have happened
The
again,
Benny.
though.
Benny. I like this adjustment from Fish, though.
Yeah.
Moving to the blitz. We've seen an awful lot of this guy, haven't we, in the past couple weeks? Oddly enough, in CL.
More
More
you'd
than we have
expect.
previously. More than you'd expect. But if you've been having trouble just taking directly in the sight or clearing out these roamers, either or, Blitz is an operator where, if played correctly, I should put a major asterisk on that, he is not a guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but he is an op that can clear out these roamers if you're able to get aggressive quickly. And you could see that window opening. Gasher playing by himself, just waiting for the intel. Fish at the ready. The drone moves in. He vaults on in, starts moving towards that mirror. They have a Z-ping on it.
I think
and you
he's
can
running.
See Gasher,
He's running.
He's cutting his losses at that point. He will start
Whoa, what is
reaggressing. He'll try to counter it. A risky play by the mirror. And he'll land it! He's able to find the kill. Fish ADS's. The adaptation doesn't work because Fish maybe
Fish
got a little
ADS?
bit ahead of himself.
Fish ADS did let him just.
Oh no!
Oh no! Why did why did nobody go with Fish? Nobody was with him.
No!
Where was his team? Oh, unfortunate. Blitz play goes out the door. Late Reg now in a 4v5. Giddy trying to refrag, but it's Gash who's playing perfectly.
Oh,
Pre-fires Giddy. It's now a 3v. Oh, a 2.5. No, it's a 2v5. Rethinking taking Bear. Oh man, it's coming down to the last two members of Arrow and Vivid to try and take this round back and keep them in the game. What a monumental task they have ahead of them, though.
Monumental task preceded by an unfortunate misplay by Late Registration. Also, great play by Gasher. Able to stay cool in that situation. Is finally taken down. Moved away from that stock position, but Benny, what does that do for Late Registration overall? It takes down Gasher playing inside a stock, but it was also Gasher playing inside a stock. He's all the way across the map from the site. He does have a C4, so if you tried to clear out, say, Ladder from Pillar, could C4 from below, but it's really just not going to do all that much for your chances overall in this round. And Aqualix, they're not getting over-aggressive. They're sitting in their positions. They're playing their angles. Vivid will try to rotate over, and maybe him and Arrow will try to go for a pinch. But look, they don't even have any active drones in between them either. So they might have something to watch their flank. But beyond that, they're going in blind, except for the Yanoclone and Arrow. And now they've spent so much time. We have only 30 seconds left. Not a lot of time to try and find whatever intel you're trying to glean. Vivid still outside on this balcony. Just to his left is Kento behind a deployable shield. Just in front of him is Arrow moving up main stairs, but now he's taken down by Vladder. All alone, an easy pre-fire for Kento to find out. CJ likely is regretting his late registration pick, unless it got changed in time.
He got changed, yeah. I think it's what I'm seeing on the, graphic.
Well, that is
changed
good,
it.
because Aqualix, they take a 7-4. Looked a bit shaky. A 3-3 half moving into the second, and Aqualix's defenses, but man, did they run away with